Constitutional crisis looming in Nigeria, a big question indeed. Treason allegations all over the place, discordant tunes in the APC, and all the controversies raging. And election day is just a week away. Where do we go from here, everyone? Don't you worry. Let's make sense of it all for you, because 2023 verdict begins right now. And your top story is the presidency has debunked claims that there is a plan for an interim government, and some of the statements credited to Governor of Kaduna State, Naira El-Rufai. And the vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Dati Baba Ahmed, is accusing the Governor of Kaduna State, Naira El-Rufai, of committing treason over the new Naira swap controversy and President Buhari's directive. And more violent reactions continue to trade the scarcity of funds across the banks in the country, and the CBN policy on Naira note swap. We see situation in Lagos and Port Harcourt escalating. It's indeed a great pleasure to appear before your screen tonight, everyone. Welcome to the program. This is the 2023 verdict live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimbalo in Abuja. Don't you worry. We have the clock counting down for your sake, and we're keeping our eyes on what is going on as far as the election of 2023 is concerned. It's 7 days, 12 hours, 57 minutes, and 43 seconds, and it's counting down by the second. Things are moving in a rapid form, and we're keeping track of all of the information that you need to know, and so we're keeping you up to speed in your fast world of politics as we head into the election. One that they say is a make or mar for Nigeria. Don't forget, everyone, that you need to keep the dial right here on Channels Television as we go into a very crucial election coverage for you. So much to talk about tonight. I will be joined on the program tonight by a senior advocate of Nigeria, a member of the cabinet, and a spokesperson of the APC-PCC. It's not going to be, it will be a hold back tonight, because we will be talking about just about everything that has been happening in the APC, the entanglement, you may call it, the dissension and the controversy between the presidency, the CBN, and the governors of the APC and some leaders of the APC. Is it true that all of this is about Bola Tinubu and making him lose the election? What about the interest of the average Nigerians in the mix of all of this? Well, first and foremost, let's check out some of your election news updates, and we'll come back and talk about these issues.
The former governor of Edo State, Mr. Adams Oshiomhole, has denied any involvement in Wednesday's Naira scarcity protest in Benin City, the Edo State capital. He stressed that Edo State Governor Mr. Godwin Obaseki has no power to arrest him in any case. Mr. Oshiomhole was reacting to claims by Edo State government that he was the mastermind behind the violent demonstrations and should be arrested by the police.
There are huge issues of the legitimacy of his government, and he thinks that he can order police to arrest whoever he considers to be his political opponent.
The Oyo State Governor, Seyi Makinde, says his administration has spent up to 40 billion naira on the construction and reconstruction of different roads that link Okeogun to other zones of the state. The governor hosted this during campaign visits in communities in Iwajowa, Kajola, and Itisewaju local government areas. Also said his administration will explore solid mineral potentials of communities that have them.
Because the infrastructure to link the various zones of the state are being really developed now. You can fly into Ibadan to come here, it will be 1 hour.
The governor of Nasarawa State, Abdullahi Sule, is calling for peace in the state and for everyone to go out to exercise their franchise in next week's election. Governor Sule was speaking during the signing of a peace accord organized by the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) and the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security for governorship candidates in Lafayette, the state capital.
The peace of this state is more important than the ambition of any political office, no matter what that office is.
The governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party in Akwa Ibom State, Mr. Umo Eno, has promised to provide more critical infrastructure in Ibiono-Ibom local government area if elected governor of the state. Eno made the promise while addressing the people during his campaign tour of the area. He promised to consolidate on the achievements of the present administration in Ibiono-Ibom by constructing roads and establishing low-cost state housing estate for civil servants across the state.
Whatever is happening now is continuity of roads, continuity of projects.
The Delta State chapter of the People's Democratic Party has been reacting to the allegation made by the Delta State chapter of the All Progressives Congress over plans by the Delta PDP to subvert the will of Deltans in the forthcoming February 25 and March 11 general elections in the state. Reacting to the allegation, the spokesperson to the Atiku Okowa Campaign Council, Mr. Charles Aniagu, notes that the allegation is false and misleading.
So if you take somebody's PVC, do you think it's a time again where you just go and tick the paper and then say the person has voted? Why are they living in the past?
Members of the National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, protested at the headquarters of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, calling on the commission to ensure that the 2023 general elections are peaceful and credible. The students marched from the Unity Fountain to the INEC headquarters in Abuja and promised to mobilize their members across the country and ensure that only candidates who have the interests of Nigerian students are voted into office.
We are here to make history that this election that will be held on the 25th of this month must be free, fair and credible.
A civil society organization is leading the campaign for Nigerians to shun all forms of statements that is capable of inciting violence. The executive director of the National Civil Society Council of Nigeria, Blessing Akinosotu, at a meeting in Abuja, cautioned Nigerians while asking them to support the efforts of the Nigerian police force in making the elections a success. A northern group, the Arewa New Agenda, has thrown its weight in support of the candidacy of Tinubu and Shetima for the forthcoming presidential elections. Addressing reporters in Abuja, the convener of the group, Ahmad Abubakar, is citing human capital development and ideological consistency as some of the areas that will receive due attention when they are elected to office following their track record at the state level.
He set up the mechanism for revenue generation that has moved Lagos from a 600 million naira economy to over 50 billion and counting.
Thank you so much indeed, everyone. And those are your election news updates this hour. Well, don't forget that this program is interactive and we want to get your views on the topics and the discussion we have tonight. So tweet to us on these handles. You can see right there on your screen using the hashtag 2023verdict. To send an email, you can also write to us to 2023verdict@channelstv.com. The race is not getting any slower, especially as we're getting closer to the election, which is just a week away. So much is happening that will swing the trajectory of the race. So let's check the temperature of things right now instead of the race. President Buhari's directive over the Naira note swap is getting reactions. Governors of Kano and Kaduna State are not finding the president's directive palatable, and they have lashed out. The Kaduna State governor told the people of his state to continue to transact and trade with the old Naira note. Take a listen to Governor Nasir El-Rufai.
It is clear that the architects of this policy always had objectives that are totally in conflict with public interest, peace, and the unity of Nigeria. They neither considered our suggestions in line with the court order, nor respected the unanimous resolution of the Council of State. It is also quite revealing that the federal government and its agencies not only disobeyed the February 8th ruling by continuing to say the February 10th deadline stands, it is also shocking to see the blatant violation of the subsisting and continuing order of the Supreme Court that all the old and new notes should continue to be legal tender until it gives judgment in the case filed by the Kaduna State government along with several others. The address by the President earlier this morning, limiting the legal standard status of old notes to only 200 Naira, amounts to total disregard and disobedience of the ruling of February 8th, which was extended further yesterday by the Supreme Court of Nigeria. The misguided action of the Attorney General to mislead the President into engaging in this public violation of the order of the highest court of the land shows how desperate the policy architects are to cause national chaos by showing open contempt for the judiciary.
Governor El-Rufai last night in that broadcast in his state went further to make very strong allegations. Listen to this.
It is important for the people of Kaduna State and indeed Nigeria to know that contrary to the public announcements and apparent good intentions, this policy was conceived and sold to the President by officials who completely lost out in the gubernatorial and presidential primaries of the APC in June 2022. Once Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu emerged as the candidate in June 2022 and subsequently did not pick one of them as his running mate, this currency redesign policy was conceived to ensure that the APC presidential candidate is deprived of what they allege is a humongous war chest. They also sought to achieve any one or more of the following objectives. Number one, to create a nationwide shortage of cash so that citizens are incited to vote against APC candidates across the board, resulting in massive losses for the party in all the elections. Number two, ensure that the cash crunch is so serious, along with the contrived and enduring fuel shortage existing since September 2022, that the 2023 elections do not hold at all, leading to an interim national government to be led by a retired army general. And number three, sustain the climate of shortage of fuel, food and other necessities leading to mass protests, violence and breakdown of law and order that will provide a fertile foundation for a military takeover.
Those are the words of Governor Nasir El-Rufai in a broadcast to the people of Kaduna State yesterday. Well, the presidency has since denied the allegations, and the President, Muhammadu Buhari, says the people around him deny the fact that people around him are scheming towards an interim government by causing chaos in the polity. The presidency, in a statement issued by presidential spokesperson Garba Shehu earlier today, said those spreading the rumor of interim government are only causing panic. Well, their reactions to what Governor Nasir El-Rufai has said, too, and the vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Dati Baba Ahmed, has come out to condemn the action of the governor of Kaduna State for countermanding President Buhari's instructions over the new Naira notes, saying his comments and actions are treasonable.
Statement. If
all right. Let's listen to Senator Dati Baba Ahmed and his reaction to Governor El-Rufai.
If an elected governor of a constituent part of a sovereign country will give direct instructions to the contrary of what is constitutionally the exclusive preserve of the federal government, like it or hate it, Buhari's government was duly elected and sworn in. Nigeria is a sovereign state, and currency matters are a sovereign.
Well, that's the vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Dati Baba Ahmed. There's a lot that is happening. There's a lot that are being said. There are a lot of reactions that are being gotten, and the nation is watching on this matter as we approach the election. But what exactly is going on? Let's get some perspective to this in what may have looked like a split division in the APC. I'm being joined by Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Fellow of the Chartered Institute of Arbitration in the UK, the Minister of Labour and Employment, and the Director of Public Affairs and Chief Spokesperson of the Tinubu-Shatima Presidential Campaign Council, Mr. Festus Keyamo. Thank you so much indeed for coming tonight.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. Let's get to the matter. Which side do you belong now in this whole mix? I see that you're dressed differently compared to the last time you were on the program.
This power shift.
To where?
To the south.
Indeed. Interesting. So is there a controversy about that in your party?
There's no controversy whatsoever. None at all.
So where do you belong?
Which sides are available?
Well, it's obvious to you. You're a leader in the party.
Which sides are available?
Yeah, but there are no two sides. Governor Naira and the Governor Ganduje who are opposed to what the president's directive is, and those who are on the side of the president.
It's federalism in action. Those who are clamoring for true federalism, this is true federalism in action. People are thinking that this is the first time that governors of the APC are taking the president to court. It's not. On various issues, they have always challenged the president in court. It doesn't affect their amity. It doesn't affect the cohesion of the party. It doesn't affect the cohesion of these individuals. And the president, at times approves, for the institutions set up by the Constitution to resolve disputes. And the courts are there to resolve disputes. Don't forget that the governors took the president to court over certain executive orders that he gave, I think regarding the judiciary, state judiciaries, and legislature, and they won at the Supreme Court. The governors have also gone to court over certain payments that were to be made, to certain individuals, I think regarding the Parry Club refund, and so many others. This is only just coming up now to the public glare and, stirring up controversy because, they are using it to play politics and they think it's going to affect the elections one way or the other. But I'll tell you that the APC governors, and that's the kind of thing we promote within the APC, the freedom to challenge anything that you feel is unconstitutional, and the president has always welcomed it. This is not the first time the APC governors are taking the president to court. It's not.
Let's get your legal perspective.
Yes.
Did the president violate the order of the Supreme Court?
Well, first of all, I'll tell you that my loyalty, ultimate loyalty, lies in my profession. As a member of the INABA, I was first of all a senior advocate before I was headhunted to serve in public office. So my primary loyalty is to my profession. So at every point in time, because of posterity, I must speak the truth. I must, because the law does not change. It remains forever. Secondly, I've also vowed as a member of cabinet and also a senior advocate to uphold and defend the tenets of our Constitution at all times. Those are my primary loyalties to the Constitution. So at every point in time, I must express my views. There's also nothing, I'll let you know that. It's only a parliamentary system that runs collective responsibility. Our presidential system does not run collective responsibility where every member of government is expected to defend every single policy, especially when it does not come to cabinet. This decision was not a cabinet decision. If it were a cabinet decision, I'm bound by the decision of cabinet. But it was not a cabinet decision of which I am part of. So these two places I belong to, and very few people belong to those two elite clubs. I'm a member of cabinet, I'm also a member of the INABA. It's only 4 of us in this country that belong to those two, and I am bound to uphold, the tenets of each of these. But so let me tell you this. My view is that the president acted honestly, without intention to slight the Supreme Court, but he may have acted on wrong advice. I did not give that advice. It's not my responsibility. I don't know who gave that advice. So I want to say this openly, and because by tomorrow, people will ask me where I stood at this time. So I think the president did not, because in his speech, he acknowledged that there were certain matters in court. So he thought he was playing safe by saying, okay, whilst before you decide these matters in court, may I just provide some middle ground so that the country is burning, there are riots everywhere. So let me just try and provide some succor to the people whilst acknowledging the matters are in court. Now, if I were to advise him, I would have advised differently. I did not advise him. It's not my responsibility. I don't know who.
What would you have advised him?
To comply strictly with the with the terms of the order of the Supreme Court.
And which is?
All the notes should circulate for now. All the notes. All the old notes circulate side by side with the new notes for now. Because that is the order of the Supreme Court. And by virtue of our Constitution, all authorities in Nigeria, all, must obey the orders of the Supreme Court. Anything to the contrary is a descent to anarchy. And let me tell you, the day we begin to disobey the order of the Supreme Court, that is an invitation to intervention, to revolutionary intervention, or other kind of intervention in our democracy, because the judiciary and the Supreme Court is the last bastion to defend our democracy. So I will not sit down here as a member of the Inaba and desecrate the Supreme Court. I've heard all kinds of arguments. Some people were here yesterday desecrating the Supreme Court, those who are supposedly lawyers. They were casting aspersions on the justices of the Supreme Court. And I want to sit down here and deprecate that in the strongest terms. People who think they are holier than thou, who think, and they say, and what did they say? They said, we are angry. This is a time to say the truth. What is the truth? The truth is only your opinion. You can't come here and say you are angry at what? These are people who were part of the PDP, who were flushed out by Nigerians in 2015. So what are you angry about? That Nigerians flushed you out? Is our democracy, government of anger by anger or by anger? What's the meaning of anger? Say, I'm angry. Anger is only your opinion. Your anger is only your opinion. We have all agreed, Shehu, we have all agreed to abide by the Constitution as a nation so that we cannot descend into animalistic behavior. And so by so doing, let me finish. By so doing, we have decided that at every point in time we want to change the government, we'll go to the polls and then cast our votes quietly and peacefully. And whatever results are announced and it is free and fair, we accept the outcome. If you disagree, you go to court. And that is why the courts are there to intervene in electoral matters. Now, somebody sits down yesterday, and because in a particular case, he says the Supreme Court did not give the judgment he expects, or their camp expects. These are PDP members coming here to pretend as if they are holier than thou. And he was belly aching over the Imo judgment of the Supreme Court. Look, Shehu, did we bellyache over the Zamfara judgment? Where we won convincingly from head to toe. I mean, from governor to the House of Assembly. And the Supreme Court dethroned everybody. We won by more than 400,000 votes in Zamfara. Did you see us bellyache? We played proper politics and Zamfara is back to APC. That's what they should do. Did you see us bellyache when Bayelsa State, that had never been under the control of opposition party, we won convincingly on the field. A day to swearing in. The Supreme Court removed our governor, not by any fault of his, but because of certain discrepancy in his deputy. He didn't commit any offense. Did we bellyache? We took it in good faith. What happened in Rivers State? In Rivers State, the Supreme Court said up to down, nobody should contest in 2019. We never fielded a candidate. The Supreme Court disenfranchised totally all the APC members. Did we bellyache? We took it in good faith. And you come here and you abuse the Supreme Court over one Imo judgment? And these are the people who want to rule Nigeria, who have no regard for rule of law in the Supreme Court, and so you are angry? Go and take your anger to the polls. Don't come here and rant. And then you come and pour invectives on one of the government. Imagine telling the public that El Rufai he speaks from two sides of the mouth. That kind of language on air yesterday. How dare we entertain such characters in Nigeria? I will not take it.
Let's break it down further. So you said, the summary of your submission is that you don't think the president did the right thing in the eye of the law.
For me, I think the president went on with the best of intentions.
But erred on the side of law.
Best of intention.
That's your position.
My personal view is that perhaps he may have been misdirected along the line. So, but he went with the best of intentions.
The governor of Kaduna State was making reference to the AGF. Could that be the advice come from that quarters?
I have no idea at all.
Okay, so,
I have no idea.
So
but let me tell you about the governor of Kaduna State and what they have done. Like I said, it is true federalism at play. They are defending their territory. Don't forget that the governors are also under oath as the president too. What is that oath? To defend the constitution, to obey all the laws of the land.
Okay.
So the governors, I heard Baba Dati Ahmed and some other people, they are just playing politics with everything in Nigeria. What's the meaning of treason? Do they know the meaning of treason? The governors have a territory to protect. Don't forget that. They are the CEOs of their state. They have to keep peace within their state.
In the case of currency.
Hold on. They have to keep peace within their state. Not currency, Supreme Court. Just forget about currency now.
Just a moment. Because the directive of the president is in the distribution and in the deployment of the currency notes.
The governors are acting under the orders of Supreme Court. Don't lose focus on that. They are not countermanding the president. No. They are not. They are saying, I have an order in front of me, and they have a duty as CEOs. They are under oath to defend the Constitution and implement the judgment of the Supreme Court.
Let me ask you.
I'll tell you this.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this. There is nobody that has challenged constitutional or unconstitutional acts of the government as much as perhaps the non-PDP states of those days, led by Asiwaju. Asiwaju has always been, but not him in this case, okay? But he has always been at the forefront of wanting to assert the independence of the states, of the subnational. He has always been at the forefront of it. And so the APC governments and the governors, they are, in the first place, they have a duty to ensure there is peace and order within their states.
Let me ask you quickly. Yeah, let me ask you quickly, please.
Right.
The order given by the Supreme Court was an ex-parte order.
Correct.
How long does the ex-parte order of the Supreme Court take before it expires?
Until the motion on notice. That's what the Supreme Court said. It lasts until the motion on notice is decided.
So you're saying tonight that by exfusion of time, that ex-parte order still subsists even when the parties appeared before?
That's what happened the last time. Did you follow the proceedings?
I did.
They stood up. A lawyer stood up to ask for extension. And what did the justice say? The justice said, no, you don't need. This order subsists till the motion on notice is decided. So they actually extended it. They affirmed it again. They said on the bench that day that this order continues till the motion on notice is decided. So it is a subsisting order.
By the principle of law, Mr. Keyamo,
we cannot pick
still in the line of my question. By the principle of law, it's an ex-parte injunction or order. How long does it take before it expires?
It is the Supreme Court that decides. It decides to extend it as it likes. There are different rules of high courts, I can tell you that. It doesn't apply to the Supreme Court. But there are rules of high courts, so many federal high courts and so many high courts. They make their rules differently. Some say 14 days, 7 days, but not the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is supreme. It's supreme. They decide. And that does not mean, they say in the first instance, even those courts where those rules are made, they will say in the first instance, but the court has inherent powers. Based on the need to protect the rest, they have inherent powers to extend those orders. So, it is nothing abnormal. They should not come here and tell you tales by moonlight.
So let's go further.
And it is dangerous to come here, come on air and begin to cherry pick which orders of the Supreme Court. If it doesn't go against you, the Supreme Court is bad. If it goes in your favor, it is not bad. Yeah, it is wrong to adopt that mentality and allow that to fester in Nigeria.
Does the president have an executive prerogative to act in the face of chaos and anarchy to make a directive for the future and the progress of the country?
Well, but not when the courts have intervened. I'm talking hypothetically. I'm not talking about Buhari now. I'm talking hypothetically.
We're talking about Buhari now.
When the courts have intervened. No, I've discussed this issue now.
Yeah.
So it's not an executive order.
No, but it make a directive as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Does he have the right in that regard based on the CBN Act? Does the president have the prerogative to take that decision and the directive he made?
So long as the prerogative and the directive does not slight or seek to force a fait accompli on the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is supreme. The president is under the Supreme Court. Is under an obligation to obey the orders of the Supreme Court. is under an obligation to the courts.
What is the...
Look, listen. You know also that even as a private citizen, people are saying that the governors, how work will they go to court? Let me tell you, on issues of constitutional infraction, every Nigerian has a locus. Let me tell you that. I went to court, remember, as a private person, to challenge the powers of the president to appoint service chiefs without the concurrence of the National Assembly. They raised the issue, the National Assembly raised the issue of locus for me, but then they said, based on that decision of Abraham Adesanya, go and read the case of Abraham Adesanya, you're a law student, Abraham Adesanya against President of Federal Republic of Nigeria, that is the case that established the principle that on issues of constitutional infraction...
That's one of the school of thought.
No, it is the Supreme Court judgment. On matters of constitutional infraction,
and local standard.
Everybody, on local standard, all Nigerians have local standard to challenge constitutional infraction. It also happened in the case of Fawemi against President. When he challenged the payment of dollars to Konjo Owiala, he went to court restlessly. Say, how can you be paying dollars when the constitution, our law says our constitution, you must pay everybody, in Naira, you must convert in transact business in Naira. And they said, look, Fawemi had locus to challenge because he was raising constitutional issues in that case. It was a private, not to talk of people who are heads of subnationals. Heads of subnationals. And let me tell you something they are deceiving the public about. Oh, you did not join Supreme CBN. You did not join the banks. It's just a lie. Because the CBN and the banks are agents of the federal government. In this instance, the banks are not implementing anything of their own. So there's no action against the banks. The CBN is also implementing anything of its own. It is by a directive of the federal government. So what is an issue is a directive of the federal government being implemented by its agents. For this purpose, the CBN and the banks are agents of the federal government. And you know the principle of law. Once you catch the principal, you don't sue the agents. Once a principal is disclosed, once there's a disclosed principal, most times we go to court, we just add all of these people. We add them out of surplusage. You don't need to. What the court is saying is that go back and change your directive.
All right. So let's refocus and let's get back to the conversation and the implication of all of this.
Yes.
There are those who believe that all of these policies are geared towards one thing, to affect the chances of the APC candidate. And I'd like to ask, with what is going on, is there any implication for your candidate at the next week poll?
The implication is very positive now. Let me tell you why. And give me time, I want to talk about this. Now, these people sat down, and we have our intelligence, I believe the governors, they have their intelligence too, and thought they could contrive something. And what they are doing is a crime, let me tell you that. Not the president. These people who think they can misrepresent or, misimplement the directive of government. Because now we are not clear. Maybe they sold currency swap to government. Currency swap is that, you know what currency swap, I'll answer your question. I want to tell you, I want to lead to that, to show that there was a grand deception, a grand criminal deception. You said it's currency swap. What you are doing is currency confiscation. It's not swap. Swap is that you want to swap, I bring 1,000, you give me 1,000. I bring 5,000, you give me 5,000 of the new notes. You said all of us, you rush our money in. At that time, you said we should rush our money in. The new notes were not available. I think that was where we also got it wrong as citizens. We should have insisted. Some of the Nigerians said, look, the agency of government, are they available now? I'm bringing my 500,000 to the bank. Is the new note available now? I want to collect it. But they said, come and deposit. We all rushed and deposited. Take it back now, you say 5,000. It's confiscation. What happened to financial freedom? You have confiscated my money. You have denied me of my rights over my money. That's the grand deception they sold to everybody. The second one is that by so doing, you now began to say, no, the country should go to, what's it called, cashless. Did you tell Nigerians you wanted to now enforce cashless? Did you tell Nigerians? And if you told Nigerians that, did you tell the banks that, look, now we want to enforce cashless. You need to expand your infrastructure because the rush now will be much. So you now give them, fintech companies and the banks, you give them a hiatus, give them some time. Say, look, I'm giving you this time to expand your infrastructure before we now migrate fully to cashless. You didn't do that. The existing infrastructure, nobody, 5-10% were doing cashless in Nigeria. I'd always been doing cashless, so these things didn't affect me so much. because I've just gone to cashless for some time, but not others. Okay? So now, all of a sudden, the banks saw the rush to cashless, and their infrastructure collapsed. We could not transfer money for some time. So how did they design this devilish plan? Let me tell you. I'm coming to your question now. I'm migrating to your question.
And I'd like you to
now
answer,
these
because
we're due
for a commercial. Just remember,
yes.
This is very important. We need to go on a commercial break,
right,
and we'll come back. So with me, everyone, the conversation continues. Plus, we need to ask some questions. How does this affect the Saturday election? I mean, February 25th election. What is the anger about, if there is any anger within the ranks and file of the APC? Is the APC divided? They are singing in discordant tunes. We'll be hearing more when we return from this break, everyone. Join us again. Thank you so much, everyone. Let's get back to the conversation with Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Minister of State for Labor, Mr. Keyamo. Thank you so much indeed for your time tonight. You were on the question that I was asked, and I asked you about the implication of this policy, because we've seen more of the reaction coming from your party and from leaders of your party. Why so?
Well, I think what these people did, the conspirators, I'll call them for this purpose, is to sit down and conjure up a big behavioral experiment to rile up the people against the government and the ruling party. That was their grand plan. And in more civilized society, that is actually the treason. Because if you engage in any act, and you remember the Watergate scandal? That was also part of the Watergate scandal. And also, if you remember, what even the PDP did in 2015, by something analytical. If you remember something
Cambridge
Analytical. You know, just engage in behavioral experiment, rile up the people against government, bring out fake news, or manipulate people to vote in a particular way, manipulate them by wicked devices. That is the treason. I see people today standing and say, the governors committed treason. Do they know the definition of treason? Do they know definition of treason? They say treason. I laugh at them when they say treason. It is they themselves who are conspiring with them that are committing treason. Because let me tell you this. All of a sudden, PDP gets up from nowhere and begins to praise Buhari. I say, what a time to be alive. Oh, Buhari is an honest man. He wants to make sure. I say, wait a minute. These are people who have always told Nigerians that Buhari's integrity is fake, that Buhari is not an honest man, and blah, blah, blah. Now, you wake up one morning and you are praising Buhari because of politics, because you think in your own estimation that the policy in place is designed to curtail or to affect or to harm your opponents. Now, in that regard, they are cutting their nose to spite their faces. Let me tell you why. Because in the process of doing that, in saying that, oh, now they are begging the people, all of a sudden they are the ones begging Nigerians, not the ruling party. They have gotten themselves into a convoluted position, a cul-de-sac. They just got themselves into a mess and scored an own goal. Now they are the ones begging Nigerians not to riot. They are the ones begging Nigerians to support government policy, opposition, to support government policy. Why? Because in their perception, I do not agree, they think that that's against Ashiwaju. The policy. So in that regard, Shehu, they would now prefer Nigerians to die, Nigerians to go naked in the banks, for banks to be burnt down, for people to die on the queue. They prefer that because they want to harm one man. They want to harm one man. In other words, no, let me finish. In other words, in the process of pursuing one rat in the house, they prefer the house to be burnt down entirely.
You've not told me how this affects the chances of your candidate.
But that's what I'm telling you now.
Because that's what some of the leaders are saying.
But that is where I'm coming to now.
So please go there.
So in so doing now, the people are now beginning to see that these people, especially the PDP leaders, they are wicked, they are callous, they are heartless, they are cold when it comes to the pursuit of power. They don't mind destroying the entire Nigeria. They don't mind destroying the lives of citizens so long as they come back to power. No empathy, no sympathy, Nothing, no compassion for Nigerians at all.
Whose currency,
that is what I'm telling
are
you.
Defending?
Let me finish.
Hold on now.
Let me finish.
Because you're not quite
you are disturbing my flow.
I'm not disturbing your flow. I'm asking you the question.
Let me tell you, sir. Because I'm hitting them hard now. Allow me to hit them hard.
Just hold on. Now, who are you defending?
Now,
the APC or Nigerians? So
let me finish my thought. I will answer that one. Let me finish this one first. So what they are now doing, so you can now say Nigerians now saw them for who they are. So at the end of the day, Shehu, what they intended to affect Asiwaju has totally boomeranged and affected them. Let me tell you, this is God's design for Asiwaju's victory to be legitimate, to be internationally accepted, because now everybody knows that Asiwaju has no official backup, no government support. He's relying basically on the strength and power of Nigerians, of the masses to vote him in. Now everybody has acknowledged, because even PDP, they are laughing at him. Oh, the government is not supporting you here and there, you know. So now I think this is designed to give Asiwaju the most legitimate victory we have had in this country since 1960. I'm coming to your question.
You need to, because you don't have all the time in the world, and this is broadcast time, and it's very expensive.
Yes.
Let me ask you, how do you react to the allegations by political party opponents who say many governors have stashed away old notes in their billions and are therefore badly affected by this policy?
This is just the lie from the pit of hell. Nobody has touched any notes, and nobody wants to buy votes.
Why are you so sure?
Let me tell you now why. Nobody wants to buy votes. How many votes are you going to buy? And it is just a lie. Let me tell you, the last 3 elections where they used beavers, APC won 1, lost 2. PDP won 1, lost 2. ABGA won 1, lost 2. As a ruling party, why didn't we win all when we bought votes? As a ruling party, why didn't PDP win all 2? It's just a lie. What they do, if you know, you did philosophy 101 in school. That's what they call the fallacy of hasty generalization. That is the fallacy they commit. Sometimes you see in 1 or 2 polling units, people are attempting to give people money here and there. And then they use it to now blow it up and say, oh, everybody bought votes during the election. How many votes can you really buy off? Maybe 40 million Nigerians that will come.
Is that the reason why you think
it is just a lie? Let me tell you why.
That nobody is touching off money.
Let me tell you why. But I'll give you an example. I'm assuming without conceding that you gave 3 months that you want to change currency. Okay? And I have so much money. You think I'll be stupid enough to keep the cash, not to go and deposit it in various accounts? You think I'll be stupid enough not to go and buy foreign currency to keep? You think I'll be stupid enough not to dispose of that cash and wait till the last day and begin problem? It's just a lie. Nobody wants to buy votes. The governors of the APC are genuinely concerned about the sufferings of Nigerians. That's all they are. They're concerned about. Let me tell you this, what are you buying votes for during election? Because demographically, we are winning. We are clear ahead.
How do you?
And secondly, let me tell you this.
The election is not
let me
even
go
here
down.
yet.
Let me go down to the basics of election. And I think my brother Dogowa mentioned it some 2 days ago. You know, when he said there are legitimate funds approved by law. Don't forget that. For me to run the elections, I don't need to launder money. He said for him, for example, he needs 70 million as approved by law. As approved by law, we have about 5 billion approved by law. You know that. What do we need to launder money for? And let me address this issue of moving money during election day. INEC said now they need money to move during election day. When you tell people this and you deceive Nigerians, you are just being, I'm sorry, you are being economical with the truth to Nigerians. Every political party needs to move money around on election day, not bribing your voters. Let me tell you why. You have appointed agents across 177 polling units across the country. Listen to this. I want Nigerians to listen to this. They are telling them lies, including people who says they don't spend shishi. They are telling them lies. They move money around. You need to give these agents stipends because you need them to wait. And this is legitimate money approved by law. It's not bribe. You need to wait from 8 o'clock when the voting starts. You need to wait at times to 10 o'clock in the night. Are you following me, Shehu? These agents need to be in place. Don't leave there for 1 hour. Don't leave, because when you leave, they may manipulate your vote. So the parties require them to stay. And don't leave there. When they stay, they need to drink Coke They need to drink Pepsi. They need to go and buy bread for me and cook. I'm not living here. They will give stipend. That is what is done.
Mr. Keyamo,
to agents. So
quickly,
these are the things they give. It's not
just a moment.
They are deceiving Nigerians.
Just why is it that
I want to finish now.
No.
This logic of
because
saying
you
want to buy
do not.
votes.
This is not a free airtime. Like I said earlier, why is it that the APC is the only political party vehemently fighting this policy?
No, because it is designed. They think they want to design it to rile up anger against the ruling party. Don't forget that once there is an anger on the streets about a policy, then it is against the ruling party, supposedly. Do you understand me? I'm struggling to explain to you. So it's not about the money now. It's about an experiment in behavioral pattern of Nigerians. That look, once we gaslight them, once we push, we make sure they say, they think, what are they doing? That the Nigerians are suffering. It's the APC. It's the APC. Now, look at it now. It has turned around against them. Let me finish now. Let me just make this point. It has turned around against them now. Why? Because Nigerians know that Asiwaju, as a person, and is entitled to do so, does not support this policy. And he has done so respectfully. He has brought out his own 6-point agenda. You know that? You read it. Asiwaju say for him, this is how he thinks. He has tried to solve the problem by his own suggestion.
Let me pose another question.
Now they are attacking some state governors of PDP now. They are saying they went to the court to support their suffering. They started attacking them. They are now blaming the opposition. It is not opposition, no.
Mr. Keyamo,
the people are angry against PDP now.
The president, in his speech yesterday, spoke about curtailing the politicians' use of money in elections. Do you think he's right?
They sold a dummy to him because who gave the mandate to CBN to cover election buying? Is that part of mandate of CBN? Go and look at the CBN Act. You are doing it through CBN. That's EFCC and some other. There are legitimate ways to go after people who want to influence election with money. The CBN Act has no provision. I'm sorry, does not have any provision for curtailing vote buying. It does not have. So what's the mandate? What mandate is the CBN executing?
Do you know what your critics are saying, Mr. Keyamo? Just in a moment, that you are hiding under the sufferings of Nigerians, claiming that you love Nigerians and fighting this policy for your own gains and benefits.
We can get money to our agents without moving money around. I just want to let you know that it has not affected APC in any way. We are winning. I'm not saying this out of arrogance. We will win. Fair and square. We will win. We will not. It is not a problem to us. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you. Can I explain this to Nigerians?
How do you then tell Nigerians?
What you needed money for in those days is to bribe law enforcement agencies during the time of PDP. And that is what is in their head. That is why you can see them reacting this way. They think it is money they used to win election. The PDP has no other method to win election but crooked means. Over the years, they've conducted the worst elections in the history of this country, especially the 2007 election that the Obasanjo declared to be do or die. As different from this president. So they have no other means to win election. It's the most crooked set of people I've ever seen in my life. So what they are doing now, they normally compromise security agents, the police, the soldiers, and all that. Why? Because you have to give them money when they are carrying the results from polling unit to the World Collation Center. They swap it, they beat up people, you give them money. It is no longer possible. So we don't need money, that kind of money to bribe. The role of agents, security agents, have been minimized and almost non-existent in elections. So because from units,
tell us,
direct
Mr. Keyamo, just calm down, please. Tell us, which are you defending? The benefit of the APC or the benefit of Nigerians?
I am defending the benefit of Nigerians. I'm sympathizing with Nigerians. The APC governors are conscious of the fact that these people, and I want to tell you that I will expand on it later, they are the people who truncated June 12th. They have congregated again to truncate this democracy. Those same people, June 12th, the characters around them, they are the ones replaying it again now.
How do you mean?
I know that.
Oh, I mean, the presidency said the election must hold.
You know, I've been built from when I left school for detention in DSS. So if they want to invite me, they should invite me again. That has been my trajectory. I've slept there so many years. You know that.
Because your colleague, Mr. Fani Kayode, has been invited by the DSS.
Why did they invite PDP leaders who were saying that people were trying to truncate democracy? Why didn't they invite them to provide information to DSS? What is going on? The PDP has said so many times that they know those who are burning INEC station. Don't you remember that the people are burning INEC stations? They are doing. Is that not threat to national security? They say they have information. Why didn't you invite the PDP leaders? I issued a statement that time calling for the arrest of PDP leaders. Why did they arrest Atiku Abubakar, who was caught on tape? Telling Nigerians, telling somebody how he stole Nigerians' money as VP. Why didn't they invite him? What is going on? But Asiwaju will triumph. Because the music on the streets now, in the north, they say, Bakudi or whatever, that Asiwaju will win. In the west, they say, Owo, Kose Owo, Asiwaju Mawole. All of them, everywhere in the country have erupted for Asiwaju now. The entire country, it has backfired. So, you know what? Maneuver has cancelled maneuver. We are back to square one. When they thought that they were going to rile up the people against Nigerians, you see, they have boxed themselves to a corner. Like I said, maneuver cancelled maneuver. We are back to ground zero. Asiwaju is clearly in the lead.
Let's wrap up this conversation.
Yes.
Mr. Keyamo, you seem to be confident whenever you mention the chances of your principal. But those who are on the inside are giving an impression that there seems to be some panic in your ranks.
No. We are just being cautious on the side of, we're just being cautious. Okay? And it's natural to be cautious. But nobody is panicking, I can tell you that confidently. I have never been so confident of an election in Nigeria than this election. I've never, 2019 I wasn't this confident.
What gives you the confidence?
I am more confident in this election, the demography of Nigeria, the baseline of 2015-2019 election, and the simple fact, let me tell you, I'll give you one and two scenarios. If I cannot go, if there's no time to go into the specifics.
There's no time, actually.
Two scenarios. Of all the states that Obi is projected to win, and he will win some, he may win some. Tell me, I want Nigerians to go back and sleep over this. Tell me one of those states that APC won in 2019 that Obi is projected to win and take away from us. One. Not two, one of those states. That Obi is not coming to take those states away. One, just one state we won in 2019 that Obi is projected to take. Not one. How many states did PDP win in 2019 that Obi is projected to take? Count them. Second scenario, because I can give 10, but only one, because no time. Second one, since 2019, what has changed in the political setup? They lost Cross River to us. They lost Zamfara to us. They lost Ebonyi to us. How many did we lose to them?
We need to go now.
Third scenario.
No. You said two. And we're out of time.
The three strong opponents of APC now, where did they come from? One party. The APC, what is the fragment of the APC? Did you see any fragments coming out of the APC? The three main opponents came from one yoke. Kwankwanso, Obi, and Atiku. One yoke. The APC, has it fragmented into
we need to talk.
Out of that fragment, there's a further fragment of G5.
We need to go
Out of that fragment, there's a general prayer. I want to make them so that they won't sleep well this night.
We need to go now.
Oh, you are stopping me.
And you're not worried that you're speaking publicly against your principal?
No.
About losing your job?
I told him, I told Nigerian that he meant well. But people who misdirected him.
All right. Thank you so much indeed.
Yes, openly.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Well, we'll take a break now, and when we come back, we will be getting some opposing view on this matter. Stay with us, everyone. We'll be right back. Thank you so much indeed, everyone, for staying with us on the program. You heard the conversation with Mr. Festus Keyamo, Minister of Labour and Senior Advocate of Nigeria, about the position of the APC and his group of the APC and his views on the rule of law as it relates to the position of the president and some of the governors of the APC. Let's flip the page now and hear from the other side. I'm being joined on the program by yet another lawyer and a spokesperson of the People's Democratic Party, Mr. Daniel Buwala. He joins us virtually. Thank you so much, Mr. Buwala, for joining us, and it's good to see you. I mean, I know you've been watching and listening to Mr. Keyamo. What are your views? He made some claims about your party, your involvement, and perhaps the reason why you suddenly are supporting President Buhari's policy. How do you react to some of what he said tonight?
Well, Seun, thank you for having me, and good evening to Nigerians. Please, Seun, permit me to observe that given the time you have remaining, it is practically impossible for me to have even half of the time he has gotten, yet we are both spokesmen and we represent political parties. Even in court, the judge allot the same time for senior advocate and non-senior advocate. So I thought I should just say that so it can be observed against next time.
So let me
now,
clarify. So just a moment. So yeah, because this is an issue of equity that you have brought up. So we had a program yesterday where the position of your party and your side was evidently and abundantly represented. And tonight, by the ethics of our profession, we deemed it fit to invite you to speak in any case that will need balance. And that's what we have done. So go ahead. You will have your time to respond to him. Thank you.
Okay, I will not argue with you, Shehu. Maybe another time off camera we can argue that. But let me say that APC is suffering from what is called agoraphobia. Agoraphobia is an extreme fear of a place in which the escape is difficult. That is what is happening to them. Let me get the things off the chest. Festus Keyamo is a minister of the Republic and a member of cabinet of the government of APC to which Buhari presides as the president. One of the rules of professional conduct, because he came to you tonight to talk about the sanctity of the law, the duty he owes first to his profession before anything else. The rules of professional conduct, section 1, it says, a lawyer shall uphold and observe the rule of law, promote and foster the course of justice, and maintain the high standard of professional conduct. Now, what that means is that the duty of a lawyer that is primarily to the profession is a duty of conviction. Secondly, section 5 of the Constitution says the executive powers of the Federation lies in the president, to which he acts directly or through the vice president or ministers of the government of Federation or other agent of the Federation, meaning that any act of Buhari is the same act of the minister that came on your studio today. Any decision of Buhari is the decision of the minister that came to you today. In a normal climb where there are men of honor, if you doubt or if you are not comfortable with a decision because you say you primarily are devoted to your profession, honorable men, what they do is that they resign from the cabinet as a sign of protest so that the government will know that they will not be there in the cabinet to support violation of court order, as he took time today to copiously state. Secondly, is the issue of the powers that he said, the same way the president has executive power, the governors have executive power. You may need to have asked him, if this is the case, who provides the security of the governors, both the DSS and the police? It is the president. And you know why it is the executive branch of government that provide? Because police, army, and Department of State Services, they are all under exclusive list. The issue they are protesting against, that they went to court about, that they even addressed the nation in order to undermine the sovereignty of Nigeria, is an act that falls within exclusive list, which is an act of the National Assembly to which the president by law exercises. Thirdly, if you are in doubt to a decision of court that you felt a member of your cabinet and the leader of your party has violated, the law that we know means that on the said day when the matter comes up in the Supreme Court, you will either get a contempt proceedings against that president, or you will draw the attention of the Supreme Court that the man has acted badly. But this is their reaction, what they claim is the violation of court order, that Governor El-Rufai sat and addressed the people of Kaduna State and by extension, the members of APC throughout the Federation of Nigeria, that they should disobey the orders of President Buhari, who stand as the symbol of the sovereignty of the country. And then he tried to throw away the issue of treason. So let me tell you what treason means. Treason is defined as a crime of betraying one's country, especially by attempting to kill or overthrow the sovereignty of government of a federation. That is exactly what Governor El-Rufai did. He attempted to undermine the sovereignty of the government of the federation. But let us just say a word or two, Sean, which will be very important, because they say he who comes to equity must come with clean hands. The El-Rufai that is inciting Nigeria to rise against the government because the government violates orders. Let me tell you, as the FCT minister, El-Rufai disobeyed all court orders and demolished houses. He disobeyed all court orders given that they should restore staff who went on strike. He disobeyed the order of court about the compensation of people whose land he demolished. As a governor, he disobeyed court order in the conduct of local government election at the time it was given. He disobeyed court order that restrained him from sacking teachers and civil servants in Kaduna. He disobeyed court order that demanded the reinstatement of sacked teachers and civil servants. He disobeyed court order that restrained him from demolishing houses at Graceland, Zaria, and houses belonging to the people in the city. He disobeyed court orders that restrained him from seizing the shops of individuals. He disobeyed court orders that restrained him from seizing shops belonging to traders in Kaduna. He disobeyed court orders that was made in favor of traditional rulers in Kaduna. This was the same man who threw the late Justice Bashir Sambo from his residence after a court order. El-Rufai is the same person who cast aspersion against the judgment of the Industrial Court on Channels Television. That is the man who has come today to incite the people of Nigeria to rise against the president because they say the president has disobeyed court order. Now, let us go to the germane of the issue. The sufferings of the Nigerian people is a product of the policies of the party they are taking to the ballot, asking the people to vote them. And it was the same El-Rufai when the EndSARS started that failed to rise and address the nation. You need to know, Shaun, that when the concept of the violation of the rule of law came at one time in Nigeria, El-Rufai did not call for any meeting to speak against the government for violating court order. With respect to the money they are talking about, there is only one person in Nigeria who is alleged to have moved money through bullion vans, and that person is on their ballot as the presidential candidate. This APC has never, at any material time in the past 8 years, demonstrated their sympathy or their feelings for the sufferings of the Nigerian people. They are coming today, but it is late to say that they are reacting because they care about the sufferings of the people, but their candidate that is on the ballot said that the whole thing that is happening, it is happening against him and his person. And I need the president to know that this war that has started from the governors and from outside has come right into his house. A cabinet member by name Festus Keyamo has declared a war against the president. Forget all the going around that they are doing. There is no going around. The reason why they are rising against President Buhari's policy now is because they felt it is time to deceive the Nigerian people and give the impression they care about Nigerian people so they can be voted. It is the same El-Rufai who on Channels Television said that one of his governor friends was given 500 million new Naira. El-Rufai has not been able to tell Nigeria who that person is. And there is no policy of CBN that I know that has permitted the giving of 500 million Naira of the new notes. So if you have seen in a nutshell that they are trying to spin to say the Nigerian people are feeling for them, one fact is clear. On the day of election, you will not see the name of Tinubu. You will see the logo of All Progressives Congress. So 8 years of torture, 8 years of turmoil, 8 years of misery now is coming to the ballot seeking for validation of the Nigerian people in order to inflict 4 more years of misery and torture and hardship on the ballot. So in a nutshell, I'm trying to say, Shaun, if you look at the gamut of everything he has said today, pending on what you will raise afterwards, they are just what we call hubris, lies, attempting to spin what they have caused to the Nigerian people to make it seem like they feel for the Nigerians. Who are the people hoarding the money? Who are the people hiding money here and there? Why is it that this time around they care so much about Nigeria because of money? In fact, even when the 200 Naira was released, they said they were not satisfied. It is 500 and 1,000 that is where their mind is, because what they saved to buy the votes were actually in 500 and in 1,000.
How would you describe those in APC who say this new twist of events in relation to the Naira note is perhaps being used by the PDP to their own benefit? How does this benefit the PDP?
I am glad tonight, Shaun, by himself with his mouth, he said that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is like a rat, but you don't catch a rat by burning the bush. I'm glad he said it, that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is like a rat. And you know what a rat is? A rat is something that steals in people's houses. That's what is the rat, but don't, in a bid to catch the rat, burn the bush. Now that is one. Number two, no member of PDP or candidate running for any office under the platform of PDP holds any position in the government of the Federation. Nobody come near it. And nobody from PDP influence policy in the APC as it stands today. But let me put it this way. They don't feel more for the Nigerian people as much as PDP does. That is why PDP went all over this country, converting their plan to bring these people out of this cage and out of this servitude that APC has placed the people under. Now, if they get confused among themselves, where they say the kingdom divided itself cannot stand, assuming you are in a place where your opponents are hitting their heads, are you supposed to follow them and be crying? This is the confusion. But our passion and our feeling for the sufferings of the Nigerian people is that you should carry this, your anger, and vote out this misfortune that has befallen Nigeria in the past 8 years. And we call on the central bank to make sure that enough of this 200 Naira note is circulated so that the Nigerian people will get the money. The central bank and the law enforcement must also focus on individuals that are mixed up with the bankers to frustrate the distribution of the money to the people we care about, to the people who came out with 5-point agenda to change their lives. The reason why PDP is so resolute that the time has come for us to take the tie and turn it is because this is election season. And the people suffering in this country must realize and express their anger at the poll. But no member of PDP holds any post in government, influence any post in government, or can undermine what the government is doing. We are quiet because we know what they are planning. They are taking one by one step so they can stop this election. You know, they are spinning when they say the other people want the election not to be conducted. Check the states that they are inflaming this crisis. They are APC-led states, from the state people who believe they can collect power by hook or crook. But we are resolute. We have few more days for the Nigerian people to go and vote out this curse that has come upon our land in the past 8 years, and vote out this mystery, this pain. They have divided the Nigerian people along religious lines, along ethnic lines. They have destroyed and bastardized the economy. They have mismanaged our unity, that everybody suspects each other. There is virtually nothing in Nigeria that is moving because a party came to the ballot in 2015, came to the ballot in 2019, and is coming to this same ballot. Remember, Sheun, it was in your program I first said, when their manifesto came out, that the manifesto of APC is a war against their government. And I told you in that program, the reason they had to come that way is because they knew it was a bad policy. And the only way they can deceive the Nigerian people is to give the impression that, this one na shit, not be me. Oh, this one na shit. But check all of the policies of APC in the last 8 years. These same individuals that are talking were the promoters and they were the enforcers. Even when the Nigerian people cried against those policies, these same people have appeared in various television and have talked against that. You recall the same spokesman in 2019 was even ordering the killing of people that they claimed they cared for. Suddenly, they have become doctors. Suddenly, they have become caregivers. Suddenly, they have become
Mr. Keyamo said earlier that this sort of situation, according to him, he used the word conspirators, that they are working against the chances of the candidate to incite Nigerians against their party. And he was confident that his party candidate is going to win this election. And he mentioned reasons why he thinks so. How do you, or what do you have to say to that?
Well, if it is with respect to the chances of their candidate, I have to tell you this. All you need to do is to look at their agoraphobia. Their agoraphobia, that fear that anything can happen and they will not be able to escape from the anger of the Nigerian people on the voting day. Where is the chances? Aswaju is struggling in the southwest that he need to lock it down. You have seen that the pan-Yoruba body in the southwest said they are not doing him. They declared him persona non grata. Key leaders in the southwest, such as Obasanjo, they have declared him persona non grata. This is where he is supposed to hold as a base. In the whole of Nigeria, have you had any group or any major person that is said he has declared Atiku persona non grata? We are talking with base. Now, stretch it further. In the northwest, All of their campaign in the Northwest were campaign of protest. If they shouted Nigeria, the people would say Atiku. When we exposed that, they stopped shouting Nigeria. Have you not seen in every rally 2 days ago, when they say, let us sing the national anthem, he carried his staff and raised it up. He took up no Oshomole to say, bring your hand down. You remember, with respect to education, he said he's promising that the people will finish their first degree in 8 years. He's not referring to medical course. So where is the chances there?
All right.
Every part of the place went. People reacted against them. The chances to Asiwaju, I'm even suspecting that Asiwaju will come third, not even second. After Atiku wins, I'm suspecting that Peter Obi might likely come second. Atiku, okay, look at the Asiwaju. All of them are fighting him. They are fighting each other. Some governors are fighting another governors. Other governors are fighting Faleke, and they say he's the one controlling the campaign. Then you have them fighting their president.
All right.
Then they call all the state chairmen and they say, we're spying on you. A person that is confident cannot be saying that.
Mr. Daniel Boala, thank you so much indeed, at least for these responses that you are able to give to Mr. Keyamo's intervention on the program. Thank you so much indeed, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
I appreciate it. But that's our show for tonight. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I'll see you on Sunday at 8 p.m. I'm sure Akimale. God bless Nigeria.